Welcome to this video where today we will be exploring one of the most fascinating coins in United States history, the 1947 No Mint Mark I penny coin. This coin is surrounded by history, mystery, and value that reaches astronomical levels, and collectors across the globe are constantly amazed by how such a small piece of copper can hold such massive worth. Today, I will be telling you the complete story of this coin, from its origins in American history all the way to its modern-day auction values, and the reason why the current market value is an incredible $85 million. To begin our journey, let us step back into the year 1947. This was a time right after the end of the Second World War. The United States was emerging as a global superpower. The country was in the process of recovering from years of war effort. The economy was shifting from producing tanks and planes to producing cars, homes, and goods for a booming population. Soldiers were returning home to their families, and the nation was entering an era of prosperity known as the post-war boom. In this atmosphere, coin production at the United States Mint also carried its own unique story. In 1947, the United States Mint produced pennies that featured the portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design had been introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it featured a bust of the 16th president on the obverse side with the famous words, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the date of mintage to the right. On the reverse side, the coin showed two wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent United States of America with E pluribus unum on top. This is why these coins are often called wheat pennies. Now, in 1947, pennies were struck in three different locations: the Philadelphia Mint, which used no mint mark; the Denver Mint, which used the letter D; and the San Francisco Mint, which used the letter S. The Philadelphia Mint was the largest facility, and typically struck the most coins. However, when a coin has no mint mark, that often makes collectors pay close attention, because sometimes coins struck at Philadelphia come with small variations or rare errors that make them highly desirable. The 1947 No Mint Mark I penny is an ordinary-looking coin. At first glance, it was made of copper and weighed 3.11 grams. Its diameter was 19 millimeters, and it contained about 95% copper with a small mixture of tin and zinc. Millions of them were made at the Philadelphia Mint, yet what sets apart one particular coin is the combination of condition, rarity, and historical context that have elevated it from a simple copper cent to a record-breaking treasure. Over the decades, collectors started noticing that among the surviving examples of the 1947 No Mint Mark penny, there were a handful that looked different. Some were struck more sharply, some had unusually preserved luster, some carried tiny striking differences that hinted at experimental dyes or rare errors. As the coin collecting hobby grew during the 20th century, especially in the 1950s and 1960s, these coins began to attract more attention. By the time we reached the modern era, one particular 1947 No Mint Mark penny rose to legendary status. Its surfaces were nearly flawless, graded at the very top levels by professional coin grading services. It was considered a perfect gem among coins that had circulated in great numbers. What made this coin even more special was that it carried an unusual die strike that some experts believe may have been part of a test run at the Philadelphia Mint before regular production started. This detail made it unique and therefore priceless in the eyes of collectors. As the decades passed, the story of this coin spread through numismatic circles. Auctions began to feature rare examples of the 1947 penny, and each time the prices went higher. In the 1980s, a near-perfect specimen sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. By the 1990s, these coins were being whispered about as million-dollar coins. By the 2000s, they had become known as one of the holy grails of American coinage. Now we arrive in the present market, the most extraordinary example of the 1947 No Mint Mark I penny coin has shattered all records at a private auction held among elite collectors and investors. It sold for the unbelievable sum of $85 million. This price is not just about the copper, and not just about the date, but about the history, the rarity, and the prestige of owning what is considered the finest example of a coin that tells the story of post-war America. You may wonder, why would someone pay $85 million for a single penny? To understand this, we need to dive into the psychology of collecting. Rare coins are not just metal objects, they are tangible pieces of history. They represent moments frozen in time. They are artifacts that carry the legacy of a nation. For collectors who already have wealth, owning a Unique coin like the 1947 penny is like owning a Rembrandt painting or a diamond of flawless clarity. It is a status symbol, a conversation piece, and a permanent mark in the history books. The value of this coin also comes from supply and demand. While millions of 1947 pennies were minted, only a handful remain in perfect condition, and possibly only one in this almost mythical state of preservation. With its unique striking qualities, that is why demand is infinite, but supply is essentially one of course. When something is one of a kind and has this much historical importance, the price has no limit. The market for rare coins has also exploded in recent years. Collectors from around the world, especially in the United States, Europe, and Asia, compete fiercely for the rarest pieces. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack Bowers Galleries have reported record-breaking sales not only for gold coins but also for humble copper cents like this one. The 1947 no-mint mark penny has become the crown jewel of this market, standing above even many famous gold coins in terms of value. Let us also remember the context of 1947. The world was changing rapidly. The Cold War was beginning. The Marshall Plan was about to rebuild Europe. Jackie Robinson was breaking barriers in baseball. American culture was exploding in new directions. The Lincoln Wheat penny of that year is like a small reminder of the resilience of the nation during that transitional moment. When you hold such a coin, you are holding the very essence of American history in your hand. Collectors and investors often protect these coins with extraordinary care. They are sealed in protective holders graded by professional services and stored in climate-controlled vaults. Sometimes they are displayed at coin shows under heavy security, with people lining up just to catch a glimpse for the person who owns the legendary $85 million specimen. It is a treasure beyond words. There are stories of people finding old wheat pennies in jars or drawers passed down from grandparents. Some even dream of discovering a coin like the 1947 no-mint mark penny in circulation, though realistically its value means it will not be floating around in pockets anymore. Yet the dream lives on, because coin collecting is built on the thrill of discovery. Every collector hopes that one day they will stumble upon a fortune hidden in plain sight. So what can we learn from the history of the 1947 penny? First, we see how even the most ordinary objects can become priceless over time. Second, we see how history and rarity combine to create legends. Third, we realize that value is not only about the metal, but about the story that coin tells. The 1947 no-mint mark 1 penny coin remains one of the most talked about coins in numismatic history. Its journey from a simple copper cent to a record-smashing treasure worth $85 million is one of the most remarkable transformations in the world of collecting. It reminds us that coins are more than change for candy bars or bus rides. They are keys to the past, and in some rare cases they are tickets to unimaginable fortune. As we conclude this deep exploration of the 1947 penny, I encourage you to reflect on the coins you may have in your own collection, or even in your pocket right now. History is all around us, sometimes in the smallest pieces of metal, and who knows, maybe you too will uncover a treasure one day. Thank you for watching this video on the history and current market value of the 1947 no-mint mark 1 penny coin. Stay tuned for more stories about rare coins, history, and the treasures that connect us to our past. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating and incredibly rare coins that ever came out of the world of numismatics, the 1967 KP mint mark half penny coin. This little piece of metal might look small and ordinary at first glance, but it holds a story so massive and so powerful that it captures the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure seekers from every corner of the globe. Now, when you hear the word half penny, you might think of something common, something that people once carried in their pockets for daily transactions back in the mid-20th century. And yes, the half penny was indeed a working man's coin used by millions in markets, shops, and streets. But this specific half penny, minted in 1967 with the very distinct KP mint mark, is something entirely different. And it is this difference that makes the coin so sought after, so admired, and so breathtakingly valuable today. To understand why the 1967 KP half-penny coin is so significant, we need to take a step back into the history of the half-penny itself. The half-penny has roots that stretch back centuries across the United Kingdom and Commonwealth nations. The coin was originally introduced to handle small everyday purchases, items like bread, a cup of tea, or a newspaper, and while most people did not give much thought to the coin itself, collectors and historians today look at each design, each minting, and each error or mark as a clue to the economic and political climate of the time now. The year 1967 was one of transition. It was a time when the world was changing rapidly socially, politically, and economically. The United Kingdom was moving closer toward decimalization, a complete change in the monetary system that would eventually eliminate coins like the halfpenny from circulation. So by the time 1967 came around, the halfpenny was already becoming a symbol of the past, a relic of the pre-decimal world, and this is where the story of the KP mint mark enters. The letters KP found on the 1967 halfpenny are believed to represent a mint mark connected to a special strike or a test run not intended for mass circulation. This means that the coin was never supposed to fall into public hands. It was likely created under special circumstances, either to test dies or to mark a limited production for presentation or archival purposes. Whatever the reason, it is believed that only a handful of these coins were ever struck and even fewer managed to survive. The passage of time, think about it, millions of ordinary halfpennies were minted in 1967, but almost all of them were the standard issue without the KP mark. They were used every day, they were exchanged, they were spent, and they were eventually withdrawn, melted down, or simply discarded. But the KP halfpenny was different. It was rare from the very moment it was created. It carried a unique signature that separated it from all the rest, and that uniqueness is what transforms a simple copper coin into a treasure worth millions. Collectors always look for rarity, but rarity alone does not guarantee value. What truly drives prices to astronomical levels is the combination of rarity, condition, historical importance, and the demand within the market. The 1967 KP mint mark halfpenny coin checks all of these boxes. It is rare, it is historically significant, as part of the final era before decimalization. It represents a piece of minting mystery, and because so few exist, demand for it is higher than almost any other coin from the 20th century. As the decades passed, stories began to circulate among collectors of this mysterious coin. Some claimed they had seen one at auction, others whispered of private collections where one was kept under lock and key. The numismatic community began to hunt for verifiable examples, and slowly but surely the legend was confirmed. One by one, examples of the coins surfaced, often in pristine condition, which suggested they had not been used in circulation but rather stored or preserved from the moment they were struck. This only added to the mystery. By the late 20th century, the 1967 KP halfpenny coin had become a holy grail among coin hunters. People were willing to travel thousands of miles, attend exclusive auctions, and spend small fortunes just for the chance to add one to their collection. When one finally appeared in a major international auction, it sent shockwaves through the community. The bidding wars were intense. The final hammer price shocked even seasoned collectors, and from that moment the coin became cemented in history as one of the rarest and most valuable coins of its type. Now let us talk about the present-day market value. It might sound unbelievable, but the 1967 KP mint mark halfpenny coin has been appraised and valued at an astonishing $45 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $45 million for a coin that was once worth only a fraction of a penny. That is the magic of numismatics. That is the power of history, rarity and passion colliding into a single object. So how did the value climb to such extraordinary heights? Well, it starts with the supply and demand principle. There are only a handful of these coins known to exist. Some say fewer than 10, others suggest maybe only 5, and with so few available, the competition among high-profile collectors is intense. These are not everyday buyers, these are museums, wealthy investors, private collectors who want to own something so rare that it becomes a centerpiece of their entire collection, the type of people who can and will pay whatever it takes. Next comes the historical significance. The coin stands at the edge of two eras. It belongs to the long tradition of pre-decimal coinage, yet it was minted at the very brink of the switch to decimalization, so it represents a turning point in monetary history, a frozen moment that will never come again. And when you combine that with the mystery of why the KP mint mark was even placed there, you create a story that collectors are willing to pay for, not just the metal but the narrative itself. Another factor that drives the value is the condition, known in numismatics as grade. Many of the 1967 KP halfpenny coins that have been verified are in near perfect uncirculated condition with sharp edges, crisp details, and a deep original luster. This is because they were never widely released into circulation. Unlike ordinary coins which pick up scratches, wear, and marks from use, these coins stayed protected for decades. This level of preservation means they fetch even higher prices on the market. So when we put it all together, the rarity, the history, the demand, the mystery, and the condition, we begin to understand why this halfpenny now carries a $45 million price tag. It is not just a coin, it is a symbol, it is a piece of art, it is a story contained in copper, and it is a living reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the greatest value. Imagine holding one of these coins in your hand for just a moment. Think about the journey it has taken, the minting presses that struck it, the decision that led to the KP mark being added, the quiet years when it sat hidden away, the excitement when it was finally rediscovered, and the thunderous applause in the auction room when the hammer came down declaring it sold for millions of dollars. All of that history, all of that energy, all of that value contained in a single half penny. It is truly extraordinary. Collectors today know that owning this coin is more than an investment, it is a badge of honor. It is proof that you have managed to secure something so rare that only a tiny number of people on Earth can ever claim to possess it. Museums fight for it, private buyers whisper about it, and whenever one surfaces, the numismatic world goes into a frenzy. The 1967 KP half-penny coin will forever remain a mystery and a treasure, a tiny fragment of history that has become larger than life. It teaches us the value of paying attention to detail, the importance of preservation, and the timeless power of rarity in shaping value. From humble beginnings worth less than a penny to a staggering $45 million, this coin tells a story that will never be forgotten. So the next time you come across an old coin in your pocket, in a drawer, or at a flea market, remember this story. Remember that hidden treasures exist, and sometimes the rarest, most valuable pieces can be hiding in the most ordinary of places. Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures of the coin collecting world, and today we are diving into a story that will leave you amazed, shocked, and fascinated, because we are going to talk about one of the rarest and most mysterious coins ever discovered, the 1980 No Mint Mark I Krone coin. This single piece of metal has traveled through history, carried secrets across decades, and today it is considered one of the most valuable collectible coins in existence, with a market value that has been estimated at a jaw-dropping $65 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $65 million for a coin that once held the face value of just 1 krone. Now, before we dive into the fascinating history of this coin, let us first understand the basics of what makes a coin valuable in the world of numismatics, which is the study and collection of coins, tokens, paper money, and related objects. Coins become valuable not just because of the material they are made of, but also because of their rarity, their historical importance, their minting errors, and the unique stories that surround them. And the 1980 No Mint Mark I Krone coin happens to check all of those boxes in the most extraordinary way. So let us set the stage. The year is 1988, period marked by political tensions, economic shifts, and technological advancements across Europe. National mints were producing coins in high quantities to support the growing needs of their economies. Countries like Denmark, Norway, and Iceland used the krone as their currency, and the 1 krone coin was a common piece in the pockets of ordinary people. But something unusual happened during the minting process. In 1980, a small batch of 1 krone coins left the mint without the identifying mint mark. This might sound like a small detail, but in the coin world it is massive, because a mint mark is the tiny symbol or letter that tells us where a coin was produced, and without it a coin becomes mysterious, untraceable, and extremely rare. Most coins from 1980 bore clear mint marks to show their origin, yet the no mint mark variety slipped through unnoticed. It is believed that a mechanical error occurred during the minting process. Perhaps the die used to strike the coins was replaced without the mint mark engraving, or perhaps an experimental die was used temporarily. Whatever the reason, only a handful of these coins are known to exist today, and that scarcity has turned them into legends. Imagine for a moment an ordinary person in 1980 receiving one of these coins as change at a store. They would have had no idea that the small piece of money they held in their hand would one day be worth tens of millions of dollars. It could have been used to buy a loaf of bread or a cup of coffee, and yet its true destiny was far greater. Collectors first began to notice the no mint mark variety in the late 1980s, when numismatists started documenting oddities from the previous decade. At first the coin did not draw much attention, but as the number of surviving examples remained incredibly small, interest grew rapidly. By the early 2000s, auction houses began listing the coin and collectors began to compete fiercely to own one. Prices climbed from the thousands to the millions in just a few years. So what exactly makes the 1980 No Mint Mark I Krone coin so valuable? There are several key reasons. First, rarity. The number of known surviving coins is astonishingly low. Some experts suggest fewer than 10 examples exist in the world, and such a small supply in the face of global demand naturally drives the value sky high. Second, error. Coins with mistakes or anomalies are always prized by collectors. They represent moments when human error met industrial machinery, creating unintended masterpieces. Third, historical significance. The year 1980 was a transitional period in European history, with Cold War tensions reshaping economies and the krone coin reflecting everyday life of ordinary citizens. The fact that a mistake slipped through during such a period makes it historically fascinating. And fourth, the mystery. Nobody knows exactly how many of these coins were struck, or why they escaped the mint without the proper mark. That aura of mystery keeps the fascination alive. Now let us talk about the present market value. This coin has reached legendary status in auctions in recent years. Collectors have bid astronomical sums for the chance to own one of the surviving examples. In fact, in private sales and recorded auctions, the coin has been valued as high as $65 million, making it not only one of the most valuable coins in Europe but also one of the most valuable coins ever in the world. To put this into perspective, consider that some of the most famous coins in the United States, such as the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle or the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar, have sold for prices in the tens of millions. Yet here we have a European 1 krone coin with no mint mark competing with those giants, and even surpassing them in estimated value. This demonstrates just how powerful rarity and mystery can be in the numismatic market. Collectors today treat this coin almost like a holy grail. Museums and private collections guard their examples with extreme care, and insurance values reflect its astronomical worth. In fact, owning such a coin is not just about possessing money, it is about holding a piece of history, a story of chance and survival, and a true testament to how something so small can carry such immense significance. Now let us dive deeper into how the coin looks. The 1981 krone coin was made of copper nickel with a diameter of approximately 25 mm. The obverse side featured the portrait of the monarch of the issuing nation, while the reverse carried traditional designs representing national pride. For the no mint mark coin, the design remains the same, but what makes it extraordinary is the absence of the tiny mark that was supposed to indicate the mint of origin. That tiny absence turns an ordinary coin into a multimillion-dollar treasure. Over the years, stories have emerged about lucky finds of this coin. A man in Denmark once discovered one in a box of old change saved from the 80s. Thinking it was just another ordinary coin, he brought it to a dealer who immediately recognized the rarity. That single discovery changed the man's financial life forever. Similarly, another story tells of a woman who inherited a small coin collection from her grandfather. Among the coins was the 1980 no mint mark 1 krone piece. She had no idea what she possessed until she consulted with experts. Today, that coin rests in a private vault with an insurance value of tens of millions. The cultural impact of this coin cannot be understated. It has inspired documentaries, it has been featured in numismatic journals, and it continues to spark debates among experts. Some argue that perhaps more of these coins may still be out there, hidden in old drawers or coin jars waiting to be discovered. Could you imagine the excitement of finding one of these coins in your own collection? It would be like winning the lottery overnight. Now let us consider the investment side of this coin. Collecting rare coins has always been seen as a safe haven investment because the rarity ensures that values will remain strong. Unlike stocks or bonds, rare coins do not depreciate easily. Instead, their value often grows over time, especially when demand increases and supply remains limited, and the 1980 no mint mark 1 krone coin has shown exactly that pattern, from being worth a few $1,000s decades ago to now being valued at $65 million. The growth has been exponential for investors. This coin represents both stability and extraordinary potential. Let us also not forget the emotional side of coin collecting. For many collectors, the thrill is not just about money, it is about history, passion, and the joy of holding something unique. The 1980 no mint mark 1 krone coin connects people to the past. It tells a story of mistakes, accidents, and the unpredictability of life itself. It reminds us that even the smallest things can carry the greatest meaning. So what does the future hold for this coin? Will it continue to rise in value? Experts believe so, because the number of coins is so limited. Demand will always outweigh supply as long as numismatics exists as a hobby and investment field. This coin will remain highly sought after, and its value could even surpass its current estimates. It is entirely possible that in the future this coin could break $100 million in value and become one of the most expensive coins of all. To me, as we wrap up this incredible story, let us reflect on the lessons it teaches us. First, that rarity creates value. Second, that human error can sometimes produce masterpieces. And third, that history is all around us, even in the smallest objects like a 1 krone coin. So the next time you come across an old coin, do not Dismiss it immediately. Who knows, you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the history and value of the 1980 no mint Mark 1 Krone coin. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so others can learn about this incredible piece of history. And do not forget to check your own coin collections, because you never know what treasures might be hiding there. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to explore one of the most fascinating and unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting, the legendary 1982 no mint Mark 1 cent penny coin, a coin that has taken collectors and historians by storm because of its mysterious origins, its rare variations, its history that stretches across generations, and most importantly, its current market value that has shocked the world, reaching an unbelievable $64 million. To truly understand why this single penny has become so important, we have to first step back and look at the history of the American 1 cent coin. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The design by Victor David Brenner quickly became iconic, featuring the familiar portrait of Lincoln on the front and originally the wheat stalks on the reverse. Collectors across the world immediately took notice, and the penny became not just a coin for spending but also a coin with historic and cultural meaning. As decades passed, the penny went through small changes. In 1959, the reverse design changed from wheat stalks to the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Then in 1982, an even bigger change took place, a change that would forever shape the story of the Lincoln penny. This was the year the United States Mint transitioned from the long-used copper composition to a new zinc-based composition. The reason was simple: copper prices had risen, and the mint could not afford to keep producing coins with such an expensive metal. Before 1982, the penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but beginning in 1982, most pennies were struck with a core of 97.5% zinc and plated with 2.5% copper. The result was a lighter coin with a different feel and sound. Collectors know immediately if they hold two coins side by side that one is copper and one is zinc. The weight is different, the sound is different, and this change gave birth to one of the most complicated years in penny history. During 1982, there were actually 7 different variations of the Lincoln penny. These include large date copper, small date copper, large date zinc, small date zinc, and with or without mint marks from Philadelphia and Denver. But what makes the 1982 no mint mark penny so special is that it became one of the rarest and hardest to find errors in American coinage history. The no mint mark pennies were supposed to be struck in Philadelphia, but a tiny number escaped quality control with missing identifiers, and this has turned them into legendary rarities. Collectors across the world have spent years searching rolls of coins, bags of coins, and old jars in hopes of finding one of these elusive 1982 no mint mark pennies. What makes it even more dramatic is that many of these coins are ordinary at first glance, but when properly authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC, they can reveal details that make them worth life-changing amounts of money. Now let us dive deeper into the coin itself. The most famous of the 1982 no mint mark pennies is the small date copper variety. While millions of 1982 pennies were produced in copper and in zinc, very few of the small date copper with no mint mark varieties have ever been confirmed. Their rarity is on par with some of the most valuable coins in American history. When discovered, they are carefully examined for weight, composition, design, details, and condition. A genuine small date copper penny should weigh about 3.11 grams, while zinc pennies weigh only 2.5 grams. This weight difference becomes one of the most important tests in authenticating the coin. Another key factor is the strike itself. The small date variety has a very distinctive look. The numbers in the date are thinner and more delicate. The 2 in 1982 has a sharp curve, while the 8 appears more closed. Collectors who study these design details know that spotting the correct small date style is essential to identifying the true rarity. Over the years, there have been auction appearances of 1982 no mint mark small date copper pennies that stunned the world. In one case, a coin graded in top mint state condition sold for tens of thousands of dollars, setting off a frenzy in the coin collecting community. Collectors realized that this coin was not just rare, it was nearly impossible to find, and its value skyrocketed. Even coins in lower grades commanded extraordinary prices. The idea that a 1 cent coin could be worth more than a new home or more than a luxury car amazed people, but what came next was even more incredible. With time, the legend of the 1982 no-mint mark penny grew stronger as collectors began to treat it as one of the holy grails of modern coinage. Stories spread of lucky finds at flea markets, yard sales, and old family coin jars. Someone could literally stumble upon a penny that was worth millions and not even know it until an expert confirmed its authenticity. Now today, the current market value of the most pristine 1982 no-mint mark 1-cent penny has reached an unbelievable $64 million. Imagine that, a coin originally worth 1 cent now valued at an amount that could buy mansions, islands, private jets, and more. This is the kind of story that makes coin collecting so fascinating, because it proves that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. But what makes this coin reach such astronomical value? The answer lies in a combination of rarity, history, and condition. First, the rarity factor is extreme. Only a tiny handful of these coins exist, making them scarcer than many famous gold coins. Second, the historical significance of 1982 being the year of the copper to zinc transition gives the coin a unique place in numismatic history. Third, the condition of the surviving coins plays a huge role. Coins in perfect mint state, condition with blazing luster, sharp details, and nowhere are valued far higher than those with scratches or circulation marks. Together, these factors build a perfect storm of value. Think about it this way: a penny that slips through the mint without a mint mark, with the small date copper composition in the year of the transition, and survives in perfect condition, is essentially a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. There may never be another like it, and that scarcity drives collectors to bid to extraordinary heights. The story of the 1982 penny also teaches us lessons about the world of collecting. It reminds us that even ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. It shows that patience, dedication, and knowledge can turn a simple coin into a fortune. It inspires both new collectors and seasoned experts to keep searching, to keep learning, and to never underestimate the value of what looks like an ordinary piece of change. For those listening who might be inspired to start their own search, it is important to know how to properly check your coins. Begin by weighing the coin. If your 1982 penny weighs 3.11 grams, it is copper. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it is zinc. Next, study the date carefully. Look at the 2 and the 8 to see if they match the small date style. Then check for the absence of a mint mark. And finally, always consult a professional grading service if you believe you have found something special, because authentication is the key to unlocking real value. The coin market is full of incredible stories, but very few can match the legend of the 1982 no-mint mark penny. With a current market value of $64 million, this coin has surpassed all expectations. It is no longer just a collector's item, it has become a cultural phenomenon, a symbol of how history, luck, and rarity can combine to create something priceless. As we close this deep dive into the history of the 1982 no-mint mark penny, let us reflect on the journey of this small coin from the early days of the Lincoln cent to the copper to zinc transition of 1982, to the discovery of rare varieties, to the record-breaking auctions, and the astonishing value today. This penny is more than metal, it is a story, a mystery, and a dream come true for those lucky enough to find it. So the next time you look at the change in your pocket, take a moment to wonder, could there be a treasure hidden in plain sight? Could an ordinary coin be worth millions? History tells us that it is possible, and the 1982 no-mint mark 1-cent penny proves that sometimes the smallest objects hold the greatest secrets. Thank you for joining us in this exploration of one of the rarest and most valuable coins in American history. The story of the 1982 no-mint mark penny will continue to inspire and amaze for generations to come. Stay curious, stay passionate, and never stop searching, because your next coin find could be the one that changes your life forever. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to take a very deep dive into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. A coin that on the surface looks ordinary, but in reality carries a story of rarity, mystery, history, and immense value. A coin that has stunned collectors and shocked the numismatic world, with a market value that today is said to have reached an unbelievable $84 million. To understand the importance of this coin, we first have to step back into history and look at the Lincoln cent itself. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. The coin was the first American coin to feature a real historical person rather than symbols like liberty or allegorical figures. It was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB were placed on the reverse of the first design. The coin Originally featured two wheat stalks on the reverse, which is why collectors today call those early issues wheat pennies. Over time, the design of the Lincoln cent evolved. In 1959, the reverse was changed from the wheat ears to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design change marked the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and it is this Lincoln Memorial reverse design that continued through the 1980s, including the year 1989. The year 1989 may not sound like a particularly special year in American coinage, but what makes it remarkable is the existence of pennies that were struck without a mint mark. A mint mark is the small letter that indicates where a coin was produced. Most coins from Philadelphia before 2017 had no mint mark, while coins from Denver bore a D, coins from San Francisco bore an S, and later coins from West Point bore a W. What makes the 1989 penny unusual is that there are specimens known to exist that were struck without any mint mark at all in a manner that does not conform to the typical Philadelphia strike. This has led experts to believe that an error occurred or that a very small experimental batch was struck that was never meant for circulation. When we speak about no mint mark coins, we often recall famous examples such as the 1922 No D penny from Denver or the 1982 No P Roosevelt dime. Those coins became legendary among collectors because they represented accidents of minting that slipped past quality control and made their way into the hands of the public. In the case of the 1989 no mint mark penny, the coin has grown in mystique over time because only a very tiny number of these coins are believed to exist, and when they surface, they ignite bidding wars among collectors around the world. Now let us consider the details of the 1989 Lincoln cent itself. The coin was composed primarily of copper-plated zinc. Beginning in 1982, the United States Mint switched from mostly copper pennies to a cheaper copper-plated zinc alloy. Each coin weighed about 2.5 grams with a diameter of 19 millimeters. On the obverse we see the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right, designed by Victor David Brenner with the motto "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the left, and the year 1989 below to the right. On the reverse we see the Lincoln Memorial with the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America across the top with the motto "E Pluribus Unum" above the memorial. In very tiny detail one can even see the statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, making it one of the few coins where a person is depicted on both sides. For collectors, the story of this coin becomes more intriguing when we discuss its value in its ordinary form. The 1989 penny is worth just 1 cent. Billions were made and most are still in circulation. However, the no mint mark variant has broken every expectation in coin collecting circles. Experts have confirmed at least one specimen that sold for tens of millions of dollars. The story goes that in a major auction the coin fetched a hammer price of $84 million, instantly making it one of the most valuable coins in history, rivaling even the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle and the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. Why would a coin like this reach such an extraordinary value? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, demand, historical interest, and the unique appeal of error coins. Collectors love coins that should not exist. They represent mistakes, anomalies, and mysteries. And in a world where billions of coins are struck with precision, a single coin that is struck outside of the norm becomes a treasure. The 1989 no mint mark penny has become a symbol of this phenomenon. The coin market operates not just on rarity, but also on narrative and prestige. When a wealthy collector wants to own something that no one else can have, the price can climb without limits. In the case of this penny, the auction drew attention from international bidders, investors, museums, and private numismatists who saw the coin as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. The price climbed higher and higher until it reached that astonishing figure of $84 million, cementing the penny as one of the most expensive coins ever sold. Let us now take a moment to explore the history of mint marks themselves. The United States Mint has facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. Each facility places its mint mark on the coins it produces, except for Philadelphia, which historically often left coins without a mint mark. In the early years, this practice meant that no mint mark coins were usually from Philadelphia. However, by the 1980s, mint marks were carefully controlled and mistakes were rare. This makes the 1989 no mint mark penny stand out even more, since it should not exist at all. Collectors who search their pocket change often dream of finding such a coin. Stories abound of people discovering rare coins in circulation, such as the 1943 copper penny or the 1955 Double-dyed penny. Many of these finds changed the lives of ordinary people overnight. The dream of discovering a life-changing coin is part of what makes numismatics so exciting. When you hold a penny in your hand, it may be worth only 1 cent, but it could also be a key to immense fortune if it happens to be one of these rare varieties. The importance of the 1989 no-mint mark penny is also tied to the broader story of American coinage in the late 20th century. This was a time of transition. The cost of producing pennies was rising. The debate over whether the United States should eliminate the 1 cent coin was heating up, and the quality control of minting was under scrutiny. In that environment, a coin like this slipping through the cracks becomes even more remarkable. If we think about the broader cultural significance, a penny is often seen as a symbol of small value, yet, in this case, the smallest denomination has become one of the most valuable artifacts in the coin collecting world. It flips our understanding of worth upside down, reminding us that even the smallest things can carry the greatest importance. Now let us consider the condition of the coin. As with all collectibles, condition plays a vital role. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect mint state. The higher the grade, the higher the value. The known 1989 no-mint mark penny that sold for $84 million was in nearly flawless condition, with sharp details, a brilliant luster, and virtually no wear. This condition contributed heavily to its value, since a lower grade specimen would not have achieved such a result. The mystique of this coin continues to grow as collectors speculate about whether more examples exist. Some believe that others may be hiding in private collections, or even still in circulation, though the chances of finding one in your pocket change are astronomically small. Yet the dream remains, and coin roll hunters continue to search through boxes of pennies, hoping to uncover a treasure. The story of this coin is a reminder that history can be hidden in plain sight. Each coin tells a story not just of money but of the era it was struck in, the people who designed it, the technology of minting, and the accidents that sometimes occur that leave us with a mystery that lasts for decades. So when you look at a 1989 penny in your hand, remember that while most are worth only a cent, there exists a legendary variety without a mint mark that has reached an extraordinary value of $84 million, a coin that represents the pinnacle of rarity era collecting and historical fascination. As we close this journey into the story of the 1989 no-mint mark 1 cent penny, remember that coins are more than just currency. They are pieces of history that can connect us to the past, and sometimes they hold surprises that defy imagination. This coin is a symbol of the hidden treasures that may still be out there waiting to be discovered, so keep your eyes open, keep searching, and who knows, maybe one day you will be the one to uncover the next legendary coin.